few years ago, I started noticing something I couldn't explain. On the surface, everything was fine. I'd be doing normal things, working, talking to people, going about my day. And yet, underneath, there was a low hum of tension, just a quiet, persistent unease, like something inside of me wasn't lined up. At first, I thought it was stress or maybe just being sensitive. But the more I paid attention, the more I realized nothing outside of me was actually wrong. The conflict wasn't out there, it was happening in here. It wasn't exactly fear, it wasn't exactly anxiety. It was the feeling of being pulled in two directions at once, of being divided against myself, an invisible split that quietly drained so much of my energy and peace. One part of me wanted rest, another part of me said I hadn't earned it. One part of me said no, while another part was already nodding yes. One part felt safe, and another part of me was scanning the room for threat. That invisible tug of war between truth and performance, between love and fear, between what I want and what I think I should want. That split, I realized, was a huge adversity to my peace. I didn't have the language for it at the time. Then I started studying a lot of integrative somatics parts work. And though I'm no expert, I learned to recognize it as a system of parts, each one trying to help, each one carrying its own story, each one pulling me in a slightly different direction. But later, through A Course in Miracles, I learned to call it the split mind. Choose however you want to define this phenomenon. And then if you don't know what the Course in Miracles is, you can watch my YouTube episode titled Please Take Notes. The split can be quiet. It's the moment you agree to something and then immediately regret it. It's the part of you that keeps making the same decisions or engaging in the same habit because it makes you feel safe, while another part of you knows that you outgrown it. The split is subtle, but it creates a constant hum of inner tension that kind of slowly wears you down. Making the decision over here doesn't feel right, but neither does the decision over here. I am in what I call the insufferable middle, ping-ponging back and forth between two things, each side not feeling fully right. Have you ever felt that? Where either decision creates this hum of inner tension? I definitely have, so I got to work on it. And here's the thing, I'm still split, but now I see it, and that changes everything, because once you can see the split, you can stop blaming the world for your tension. You can also stop thinking that something's wrong with you. Your awareness will grow rapidly, providing you with countless opportunities to choose. And you will get to choose again and again without any guilt, no matter what you choose to choose. Let me show you what I mean. For me, the split shows up in the most ordinary moments, right? Like when I'm invited to something social, like when I'm invited to almost anything social. One part of me lights up. Yes, connection, community. I really like these people. This will be good for me. But then another part immediately contracts. What if I can't handle being around people? What if my mood crashes that day and I can't perform socially? What if I feel out of place? What if I can't leave when I want to? And suddenly, I'm not just deciding whether to go, I'm managing an entire internal negotiation. If I say yes, I might feel trapped, and I do not like the feeling of feeling trapped. If I say no, I might feel sad and isolated. Neither option feels great. That's the split. One of the most common places the split shows up is in the struggle to let go of something that no longer feels right. That could be anything. It could be marijuana, alcohol, caffeine, sugar, nicotine, fast food, soda, porn, social media. I don't know, any habit that once soothed but now feels misaligned. On one side of the split is the part that's ready. It sees clearly, this isn't helping me anymore. It's keeping me stuck in a loop that I've outgrown. That part wants freedom. It wants alignment. It wants to feel clean and present and whole. But on the other side is a part that says, I'm not ready to let that go. Please do not take this away from me. I need it. How else am I supposed to, soften the edges? How else am I going to get through whatever, fill in the blank without it? That's the split. So what do we do about this? Well, in parts work, we learn that the mind is not a unified voice. It's a system of parts, each with its own perspective, its own emotion, and its own role. So some parts are protectors, some are exiles, some are managers. And while they may seem to be in conflict, they all exist for a specific reason. They were formed in response to something, an experience, a wound, a need that wasn't met. They aren't bad, they're adaptive, they're trying to help. When we feel stuck or reactive or torn, it's often because two or more parts are activated at once. One part wants to move forward. Another part wants to keep us safe. One part is ready to speak. Another part is afraid of being seen. And instead of trying to silence or override the wrong part, parts work invites us to pause and ask these parts questions. When we meet these parts with curiosity instead of judgment, something definitely softens. The system begins to trust. And the part that's been working so hard to protect us can relax a little bit, right? Because it finally feels seen, acknowledged. One of the reasons I was so attracted to A Course in Miracles is because it offers a parallel teaching to parts work, although it uses different language. A Course in Miracles teaches us that the mind is not unified. It's split between two entirely different thought systems, the ego and the Holy Spirit. The two different thought systems have two different ways of interpreting every moment, every relationship, every experience. They never agree and they never speak at the same time. You are always listening to one or the other. The Holy Spirit in A Course in Miracles is the voice of God within each of us, the one that guides us. According to this channeled text, these aren't just psychological tendencies. Every thought, every reaction, every decision arises from one or the other, the ego or the Holy Spirit. The ego is the voice of fear. It's loud, it's urgent, and always speaks first. It believes in separation, scarcity, and control. It tells you you're alone. You are vulnerable. You must protect yourself. You must earn love. You must manage everything. It's the voice behind anxiety, judgment, guilt, performance. And because it speaks first and fast, it often feels like the only voice there is. You know the voice I'm talking about. There's no further explanation needed. But the Holy Spirit, the voice of truth, according to A Course in Miracles, is always present. It doesn't shout, it speaks in stillness. It says, you're already whole and infinitely loved. You are a part of, and the peace you are seeking is already within you. There is nothing pushy about the Holy Spirit. It simply invites. That's the harder voice to find, but the voice that will help end the split. And you don't have to call it the Holy Spirit. You can call it Christ consciousness, that higher self or higher mind, whatever you prefer. Don't get hung up on language, learn to translate. So when you feel torn or stuck in the insufferable middle, A Course in Miracles doesn't ask you to fix it. It asks you to see it, to recognize the split, and then to ask for help. So one might say something like, I don't know what anything, including this, means, and I will not use my own past learning as the light to guide me. That's the invitation. That's the shift. Ego would have you believe you're powerless, reactive, you're stuck. But the Holy Spirit reminds you, you can choose again and again, not once, not perfectly. You have a lifetime to choose, or eternity, depending on how you look at it. The goal is actually to become aware that we are choosing it all rather than trying to choose correctly. That's the goal. And when I'm choosing, I am no longer the conflicting voices. I am the one that sees these conflicting voices. I am the one who chooses. And this choice isn't about suppressing the ego or forcing myself to be spiritual. It's about gently noticing, I'm in fear. I've chosen the ego, but I can choose again if I want to. I can choose again if I want to. Now, these are all great words, but how do we apply these teachings practically? How do I apply these teachings practically? So let's go back to one of the examples that I provided earlier, right? You feel ready to release something that no longer feels right. Again, this can be anything: marijuana, alcohol, sugar, caffeine, porn, soda addiction, fast food, whatever habit that once soothed but now feels misaligned. According to A Course in Miracles, the answer isn't to fight one side of the split or to try to force yourself to let go. The Course would say both parts The part that wants freedom and the part that clings are simply mistaken about where peace comes from. That's it. You don't need to heal the split by attacking the habit or shaming yourself for wanting it. You heal it by bringing both sides to the same place, to awareness. I see you. The Course would call this looking with the Holy Spirit. You don't fix the behavior first. You let the mind be corrected about what it thinks it needs. That means you pause before acting on the behavior, not to suppress the urge, but to see it clearly. You might say inwardly something like, I don't know what this habit is for, but I'm willing to see it differently. That single moment of willingness, that's the miracle. Even if and when you still go and do the habit, I promise you, this single moment starts to change things. The part that wants comfort and the part that wants release are both asking for the same thing underneath, right? Peace. That's it. They both want peace. When you let the mind rest in that awareness, the conflict begins to change. At least it does for me. Behavior may or may not change right away, and it doesn't with me. The need behind it starts to heal, though. You're bringing something else into the conversation. That's important. You're breaking something up here. And here's what's changed for me. I still feel the split. I still get caught in it. But now I recognize it. And that recognition shifts absolutely everything. I see it. I now know that I can ask for help because once I see the split, I stop blaming my circumstances for my discomfort. I stop assuming that something is wrong with me. I begin to understand, oh, this tension, it's not a flaw, it's a signal. It's showing me that two parts are active. And when this happens, I am acting in awareness as the chooser, the witness, the decision maker. And yes, sometimes I choose the ego for sure. This isn't about choosing quote unquote correctly or perfectly. And the power of choice isn't meant to beat us up. This is not a tool for self judgment. And if you often use your self awareness as a way to shame yourself, then watch my video titled The Hidden Trap of Self Awareness. The work isn't about never splitting again, it's about expanding awareness that there is a split so you can see it sooner and sooner, choose again and again while being kind to yourself in the space in between. And you do this over and over again for the rest of your life. Have a good week.